Hi everyone, it's Alicia, and today I'm joined again by Richard of Richard A. Myers Jr. and Associates LLC. Richard, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. And yourself?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good.
So I'm happy to have you here today because we are going to be talking about what does a consultation look like for a new client. So you're actually going to walk us kind of step by step through that process. So I'm just going to turn it right over to you.
Well, very good. Well, initially when somebody calls in, they'll be talking initially to one of the two support staffs. There are two attorneys here in the office. And so they'll normally try to get that phone call off to one of us or have us give them a call back. During that first phone call, we try to find out what's the main issue, what's the pain that brings them to calling today, or how do we relieve that pain? So we'll try to identify the topic that way in that initial telephone call. So those are normally several minutes long, sometimes 15 minutes long. Then at that point, we'll decide what's the next step. Do we need to get together? Who should be part of that next meeting? Whether, again, if we're doing Medicaid planning or VA planning, is a veteran or the parent going to be there? Are we going to start with walking with the children? So, and then we'll decide who needs to be part of that meeting. Then we'll make a decision whether or not, especially today's era, whether or not we need to meet in person here in the office or at somebody's home, whether we want to do a video conference like what I'm doing right now, or whether or not we want to do a conference call. We find that way to get the people who need to be involved, and especially with using conference calls and video meetings, which we prefer probably in person or video, because a lot of times when I'm explaining things, I'll try to draw things out to help people understand it. But the more eyes, the more ears, the better everything's going to be understood. So often we're dealing with complicated issues, so we try to walk through that. So what's the length of a typical meeting? Typical meeting is going to be normally about an hour and a half to 2 hours. We really try to go through and figure out what needs to be done, what's the best course of action. And the more facts I can gather, the better off we can do. We'll normally send out a checklist to the client so that they can prepare documents, financial information, so as we work through those topics. And then in the end, we'll figure out what needs to be done in that initial consultation, or at least what next steps need to be taken. And there several times we'll also then talk about what's the cost of that next step. So my dad had a gas station. And it was back in the day when the mechanic would take a look at your car and put it up on the lift and tell you what we need to do without charging a consultation fee. So same thing, we do the same thing in the practice where we understand what your pain is, tell you how we can help relieve that, and then move forward from there.
All right, Richard. Well, thank you so much for telling us a little bit more about that process, because I'm sure that's something that's always on someone's mind when they start to think about this. Maybe they could be nervous, they're not sure what to expect. So just watching this simple video to kind of give you that idea of what to expect when you come to Richard A. Myers Jr. and Associates LLC. So if you'd like to set up an initial call with them to maybe get in there and start meeting face-to-face or in a video call like this, you can get in contact with them by giving them a call or visiting online at rmohiolaw.com. Thanks again, Richard.
Very good. Well, thank you.